Welcome to the Cracking the Growth Code podcast, where we explore practical growth and leadership insights to take you and your organization to the next level. I'm your host, Matt Zimbrowski, and I'm pleased to have as my guest today, Ashik Uzzaman. He has over 2 decades of experience in engineering leadership and software development, and he isn't just passionate about building expansive distributed systems, but also about fostering a culture of innovation, excellence, and diversity. And we're going to get into this because I have a lot of good questions for him. He leads by example, cultivating resilient teams that embody forward-thinking values and aligning their growth with both business innovation and technological advancements. His adept stakeholder management ensures seamless alignment with the overall vision. He has a commitment to leadership that extends beyond his professional roles. He loves to share his insights and empower others through his YouTube channel called Leaders Whiteboard, which I've checked out. It's very cool. And he offers valuable perspectives there on leadership principles and fostering productive team dynamics. So Ashik, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt, for inviting me in your podcast. It's a pleasure talking to you.
It's great to have you. I'm on the East Coast. You're on the West Coast. So this is a multi-coastal podcast we're doing today, which is
definitely
which is exciting. Ashik, for the benefit of our listeners, can you are doing a lot of cool stuff. Your YouTube channel has a lot of good content. You've done a lot through your career. Can you just briefly introduce yourself, elaborate a little bit more on the introduction that I gave, and talk about your role with your company, what you're passionate about right now, and a little bit more about yourself?
Definitely, yeah. Thank you, Matt. I think you covered quite well in the introduction. Just to add to on top of that, I have been working in the industry in different domains for more than 2 decades now. Definitely, I started as a developer. Java was my bread and butter initially, but after many years of coding, I moved into people management. So one of the reasons my motive was to actually to see if I can help other people succeed rather than succeed myself. So that was my early motivation to move into leadership and people management. But once I got into there, I found there is a wealth of pleasure here, wealth of knowledge to gather as well as wealth to share. So that changed my journey a little bit. I started focusing more on processes and people rather than product and technology. Although these 3 are the things like people, process, product, or technology. On the product side, I'm very passionate about how you, let's say, handle a software development lifecycle. So several of the Agile delivery methodologies I have worked on, but even before Agile, I had experience working with starting from waterfall to something that nowadays people, I don't think even hear about, CMM, capability maturity model, and some other models. So with that, I see how after our software development life cycles has evolved over time. And I feel like these are things that if you discuss with your fellow colleagues, industry peers, and so on, you can learn a lot from each other. That's why I started my Leaders Whiteboard YouTube channel, so that we can learn from each other. In my current role here at Twin Health, I'm the head of engineering for Treatment Platform Group, which is, you can say, the business application development side of our platform. So we reverse chronic metabolic conditions like diabetes, obesity, hypertension, and so on, using AI and machine learning models, as well as IoT sensors, and at scale with very minimal human touch or health coaches touch. So this is something very impactful, and like AI is being used for many small things also, but I think these are the type of use cases that you can really take advantage of AI. So it's very fascinating, and I have been working here for more than a couple of years now. Yep. So I hope this gives an idea to your audience what I'm passionate about.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashik. That is fantastic. It's a great way. I'm excited that you're in leadership. I'm excited that you're in healthcare, because authentic leaders like you are the people that I love interacting with and working with the most, because you have an ability to influence such a large audience, not only through your YouTube channel, but through podcasts like this and through your role at your current company. Let's talk about leadership for a little bit, because you mentioned about you shifting yourself from an individual contributor, team leader, and now more of a senior leader in the organization. How do you define leadership?
Yeah, so I know leadership is this definition is a relatively debated topic. So the way I see is that leadership is like the act of guiding, influencing, or inspiring individuals or groups. That's the thing. Like if you are a leader, you will need to be able to influence so that you can achieve a certain team goal. That's the primary. Like it's about motivating people to do their best, like fostering a shared vision or cultivating an environment where people feel valued and heard. So at a core level, we all are leaders. We at least lead one person, which is ourselves, right? So that part is good. But then there is an overlapping definition of manager. So we often come about leader versus manager. So the way I see it is that a leader is someone who has followers. Basically, he influences, he can give dreams, he can inspire. A manager is a job title who has a particular task to do it. And in a team, you need both. It's not one versus the other or one is better than the other. These are different roles. So the way I see it is that to be a leader and to be an authentic leader, you be yourself and you lead the team in different ways. Some leaders lead it from front, some leaders from the side. There are multiple ways you can do it. But as long as you can inspire a group of people to a certain goal, that's the definition of leadership to me. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And I like how you describe the difference between leadership and management, because that's a very hot topic even today. Especially for people without as much experience that you and I have, it's really important to understand the difference there, because there's a big difference between the authority side and the influence side. And I'm glad you talked about that. Let's talk about building, because as a leader there, I'm sure you've interviewed a lot of people. You probably hired a lot of people, had to let people go. There's a lot of things that are involved with your leadership role. And from a hiring perspective, when you think about bringing someone new to join your organization or one of your teams, I'm sure you think about, as you say, everybody's a leader. What are three of the top attributes that you're really looking for in a candidate to bring onto your organization to really complement the culture and the ethos that you built there?
Yeah, this is a very good question. Thank you. So when I'm hiring for a team, so the first thing I look at is an ideal team player. Is the candidate an ideal team player? And definitely an ideal team player is, you can list a lot of attributes, but the three attributes that I follow are humble, hungry, and smart. So the management guru, Patrick Lencioni, he had a book called The Ideal Team Player. And he described these humble, hungry, smart there. So what does it mean? So for example, let's say a candidate who is humble when they are working on the team, they are not actually boosting, they are trying to help the other team members. People feel comfortable talking to them. The humility. Hungry is people who are not looking for, this is just my task, let me get it done. When you give a task, they challenge. They can say, can I do more than that? Or do I have to do this? Is there another way to do this? And so on. They constantly challenge. They constantly try to excel. These are hungry people. And definitely this is a very great asset to have, because this is not very easy to develop in people. On the other hand, through coaching, you can, if someone is not that humble, you can try to work with them and you can get better. But hunger has to come from inside. It's a little bit tricky. On the other hand, smart, what Patrick Lencioni is saying in the Ideal Team Player book is that by this he means emotional smartness, people smartness, emotional intelligence. Like when you are in a room, you know how to adjust yourself with the context that you are in, with the pace that you are in. You know when someone is a little bit upset, this is not the time to ask a hard question to them, why did you do it? At a different time, how you compliment someone and then you actually tell them where your feedback, where they can do better. These are smart people. So humble, hungry, smart. But of course, these three will not work if the actual job that you are hired for, the technical skill, for example, let's say you are a programmer, are you good at programming, your bread and butter, that you have to have good. That is technical evaluation. For any job that you are doing, you have to do good. But outside of that, the technical part is relatively easier to evaluate. It's not very easy to evaluate someone is an ideal team player or not, the soft skill or behavior side. This is where I think hiring managers like I am, we focus a lot on it. While on the technical side, you can leave it to your engineers, your principal engineers on the system design and architecture or testing methodologies to them, while hiring managers should focus on these areas.
That's very, very well described, and that was in the book, The Ideal Team Player.
The Ideal Team Player by Patrick Lencioni. He's a management guru. Yeah.
Yes, I know. I think I've watched one or two of his TEDx talks.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Many of his ideas resonates very well with me. Yeah,
that's fantastic. I hadn't heard of those before, but I like that. I like the humble, hungry, and smart, and the way you describe that to complement obviously the technical skills and aptitude. What are now? These are what I would call like the soft skills, right? These are often challenging. You don't really see them on a resume, right? You have to, in an interview, try to evoke that in the conversation. What's one of your favorite interview questions that you like to ask to assess everything that you just shared?
Yeah, definitely. So there are a few questions that I ask. One particularly I have used more is I ask a behavioral question about, tell me about a time when you got a strategically difficult challenge to handle. What was the challenge? What was your reaction when you got it, and how you handled it? So basically, a strategically challenging situation they had to face. So the advantage of this question is it's a relatively open-ended question. This also tries to evaluate the candidate actually what they understand about strategy. So people understand about problem. What is a strategically challenging problem? Because different people will try to understand it differently. This gives the candidate a question to an opportunity to ask clarification questions that, like, what do you mean by strategically challenging, and so on. So those are some of the things. Before jumping into answer, is the candidate asking for those? So this is one of my favorite question. Plus, what it has is that you can extend this question to next or other questions because it can branch out to many other situations. Yeah.
I like that. It obviously gives you a good, a better understanding of their ability to assess the strategic side of a situation, right? Like, what do they think of when it comes to strategy and so forth? That's a really good question. Thank you for sharing that. I want to talk about we talk about people and leadership a little bit. I want to talk about the culture of your company and what you build. When you bring people in, I mentioned that you're bringing them into your culture and the culture, and that's a very organic, changeable part of the company and the organization that you're bringing them into. What do you think is what do you think is something that's going very well as part of your culture? Maybe one or two attributes of the culture of could be your company, could be your organization, you're part of the company, but what are your thoughts on that?
So a couple of things I think is going very well with the company that I'm working in currently right now at Twin Health is that the first thing is that our mission and vision. What we are trying to do is we are trying to reverse chronic conditions of people and give them a healthy and happy life. So this mission is broad and very impactful. Like it's about people's lives, like diabetes, obesity, hypertension, non-alcoholic fatty liver, and so on. People go through pain for these, to manage these for decades, not just years, right? This influences the people who are joining our company. One of the things we look for is their passion. So in fact, their passion is part of their yearly performance review, our performance review when we go through. So what I see that the type of people that get attracted to companies like Twin Health I'm working on, they are really passionate about this, serving the people. So we are not doctors, we are not nurses, we are engineers, or we are coming from different backgrounds. But within us also, there is a way to give back, to work for humanity or civilization. So I see the type of colleagues that I work with or the type of candidates we attract. This is a common attribute I see. They get excited that I'll be able to make a huge impact on a large number of people's lives. So that's one thing that is working very well. So a particular area of healthcare sector that focuses on chronic diseases. The second part that's working very well in our companies is the technology that we are working on. So what we did is we created a patented whole body digital twin platform. So when a member, let's say a member has a diabetes, so our AI-driven machine learning models and the IoT sensors, they actually create a digital twin of the member and applies many different kind of rules on that to see what's good for this candidate. Everyone's body, everyone's unique habit, lifestyle is different. So instead of generic solution for different, like this type of disease, this is the solution kind of thing, our whole body digital twin platform will give each member's precision treatment exactly only for that member. One example is, let's say, food. So what kind of food they eat impacts their metabolic condition. And at the end, your blood sugar level maybe go high and low and so on. So we have foods like red, green, yellow. So a particular food, for example, let's say mango, can be green, that means good food for one member, can be orange, like not so good for another member, and can be red for another member. All three have the same disease, diabetes, let's say, or obesity. Why? Because everyone's body, there are many other parameters that determines what this food is for you. So this is the precision treatment. But if you look at a book, maybe the book will say, oh, mango is usually orange. So it doesn't help you specifically. It helps a group of people. So this is where we do it. So I see that the candidates who are working at Twin Health or are attracted to companies like Twin Health, I see they get excited when they say they are getting an opportunity to work with AI ML directly. We are an AI first company, IoT sensors, and a platform like whole body digital twin that's expanding all the time. We are adding new and new capabilities to the platform. So on the technology side, also product and technology side, it's very attractive. So this is going very well for us as a company.
That's fascinating and really exciting with the power of a shared vision that you talk about in the technology that you're blending. And I'm curious a little bit about what you shared to give a unique individual profile, and that individual guidance is so powerful in today's day and age. What do you have as input to that? Do you have like their medical records and blood tests, and like what goes as the input to make the individual data that you get?
When a member joins one of our programs, like right now we have diabetes, pre-diabetes, and obesity. We call that Healthy Weight. These three, one of the three programs, when they onboard, definitely they have to go through a lab test first, and we get all those lab details, body measurement, blood sugar, and so on, one time fast during the lab. But then once they are in our platform, they use either iOS or Android phones. That is where they download our software, Twin Health app, and the app is that digital twin that starts talking to them. Basically, they say in the morning, you say, I have eaten today, let's say 2 bread and 1 glass of milk at this time. And then you did some exercise. You say, I just did 30 minutes exercise, or I went for a walk and so on. So that's how, this is one way of we are getting what you are eating, what kind of activities you are doing every day. The other things is we send them some sensors. One is CGM, like constant glucose monitoring. You put it there, here in your hand, and these every 5 minutes keep sending your blood sugar level. So for example, let's say we support Dexcom and Abbott, those two CGM devices. So they have their own cloud. So we have API integration with them. From their cloud, the data comes to our cloud, to our machine learning databases and machine learning model processes, and sees like every 5 minutes your blood sugar level, how it is going, versus when you're reporting, I have just eaten 2 bread and 1 milk right now, and your blood sugar goes a little bit up. The machine learning model can correlate. Oh, this time when the blood sugar went up, an event happened, which is eating 2 bread and 1 glass of milk. Oh, so this is the reason for the blood sugar level up. When the machine learning model is constantly looking at you all throughout the day, after several weeks of monitoring you, it can actually predict what will happen in future. It doesn't need that real-time data anymore. So that's one. There are other things like Apple Watch, Fitbit, Garmin watch that you wear. So those watches are also IoT sensors. It gives your heart rate, your pulse rate, your stress level, how deeply you slept last night, and so on. So when you wear this up, this data also goes to our machine learning. Similarly, we also send them blood pressure cuff, so that every morning they just sync up their blood pressure, and it automatically goes to our mobile app through that to our database. And we also give them a weight machine. So in the morning, you'll just wake up on the Twin Health weight scale just once a day, and it automatically syncs up the data in the mobile app and goes there. So like that, our machine learning model is getting a lot of data from different places about you and your body, your current situation at real time, and makes decision.
That is absolutely fantastic. I love the way you described that. I actually wear a Garmin watch now.
Oh, I see.
So I can track a lot of that myself with the sleep and all that. And wow, that's really, really exciting. I'm gonna learn more about your company. Luckily, I don't have any of those conditions or whatever that need to be addressed. But from an individual perspective, I'm passionate about health and fitness. Our whole family is. And what you just described is a great way to use data-based decision-making to analyze. So it's brilliant that your company is doing that. You're leading, a large number of engineers, and that's exciting stuff. Exciting stuff.
That's really exciting. I feel like this is the cutting edge of technology, using the AI for the right reason and so on.
Yes, I agree. AI is a brilliant partner, I believe, to complement the human side. And just like what you said about hiring, all the soft skills and being humble and the EQ and all that, AI is not good at that stuff. But if we can bring a human in with AI, we can just accelerate everything. So I think it's great that your company is doing that as well.
Thank you.
And as we wind down, Ashik, I have one more question for you. We have a lot of current and future leaders who listen and watch this program, and some of the leaders are like yourself, have been in an industry for a little while. Others are very new to the game, right? Maybe they're a team individual, a developer, a contributor, a new person out of college, even wants to go on the leadership path. What are your top 3 tips of advice that someone could really bring out their best as a leader today in their career?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. So I would start with is that when someone is trying to get into a leadership role, even if not now, but for future, they have to know what's the motive. Is the motive is the reward that leadership gives, or the responsibility that the leadership gives? So my recommendation will be is that if you feel that you like that responsibility, because responsibility comes with sacrifice and hard work, and reward is not the primary reason why you're going there, then you should choose leadership. So that's one thing, reward-centric versus responsibility-centric. Another thing I would say is actually to have a curious mind. So I know that to be even an engineer, good engineer and individual contributor, you have to be curious about the technology that you are working on. In leadership, it's even more important because you have to be curious about everything around you. You have to be curious about the people, their lives, what motivates them. You have to be curious about the processes. You have to be curious about what else we can do to have an open mind. So there is a book by Adam Grant called Think Again. I would recommend you to read it. That will help you rethink how you think, basically. So having an open mind is very important. And definitely the other thing is the humility. The humility has to be there. There is something called Dunning-Kruger effect, right? So when you, let's say, read a particular subject or work on certain things and you feel like you know a lot about it, the Dunning-Kruger effect says that when you know nothing, you start with 0. But when you know something, you go at the height of the mountain as if you know everything. You'll only get humble when you study a little bit more and know you know so less. You don't know so much. So you go down, and over a period of time, you go from the data to information to knowledge to wisdom. You go into wisdom. So the humility is very important no matter what kind of profession you're doing, and particularly in leadership. So that's the 3 things I would say. Advise your audience.
That's wonderful. And those all go together very well also. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Ashik, for being here, for your time, your attention, all your insights. There's so much here to unpack for everybody. I'm really excited to share this with our audience. And again, thank you for your time and energy today. Really enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. I enjoyed our conversation too, and thank you for hosting me. And all the best to your audience. Yeah.